Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 35 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
And I am Weston Pugh, and we are so glad to have you here. We've got a good week set up, don't we?
Yeah.
So what did you do last week?
Well,
or this week?
Let's see.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about.
I don't know. I don't remember what I did this week.
Do you not? Well, tell us a little bit about what week it is.
Okay. So this, two things that were really important this week. Number one is this is National Teachers Appreciation Week. And I wanted to give a shout out to three teachers that I know personally that I know do such a great job. Corey Robarge, Tim French, Carol McGonahay. Y'all do a fantastic job teaching our children. So thank you for that. Second of all, this is also National Nurses Appreciation Week.
Yep.
And, it's amazing when I was trying to kind of put my head together and figure out how many people I knew that were nurses. I know so many people in the medical business, but the ones that I know that are nurses off the top of my head, Morgan Heim, Stacy Wilson, Seton Van Meter, Ashley Goodwin, Scott Ward, Lori Hall, Eric Shellhorn. Y'all all do such a great job for our public health. So thank you very much for doing what you do.
And one of the things that we did on our Facebook page is we actually posted two different articles, and those articles will actually show you how other companies across the United States are getting together to show their appreciation, by either giving discounts or actually giving away free food. Like here, I believe one of them is...
This was just like
Chipotle.
Yeah.
So this is a great thing. And I thought as a funny side note, I saw a little thing today that said that teachers should be equipped with body cams so that they can clearly show parents how their kids act when they're not around.
That's a great idea. I would bet every one of them would agree with that.
Interesting. I can't imagine what I was like. So
what did you do this weekend?
So this weekend I actually went rowing at White Rock Lake. If you go down to the boathouse, there is a huge center that they have set up. Signed up for an introductory class, and it was Saturday and Sunday morning, and it started at 7 a.m., went till 9:30. It was a great idea. I think that one of the most interesting things, the ways that they described it, was that this is a team sport for people who are OCD. It is highly technical. There's a lot of science behind what happens here, but at the same time, it's so peaceful. And if you want to get away from your digital world and your phone, this is a great place because water and technology does not match. So think about this. Google White Rock Row, and you'll be able to get all the information. It is a wonderful time, and I actually have the blisters to support that. So take a look at that.
The other thing that we wanted to mention today is we've had a couple of properties that had price reductions on it that we have talked about on the show. The first one is a condo at Parkside Cedar Springs at 4777 Cedar Springs, unit number 5L. That unit has been reduced to $180,000. It's a really cool 2-bedroom, bath and a half, and great value at the current price now.
The other one that we have is going to be at 1612 Emerald Tree Place. This one was just released, I believe, on Monday. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2.5 car garage, and is $337 now.
And the last one is our listing at 5635 Yolanda Circle. This is, kind of in the heart of Preston Hollow, and it's a really custom home built by Sharif and Munir, priced at $3,499,000.
So if you have any interest in any of those, please let us know. We'd be happy to talk to you about those or any of the homes that are surrounding those areas.
Yep. And, one of the other things that I wanted to bring up today is, about 9 months ago, our company became part of the Berkshire Hathaway Company. And we have a new CEO with our company named Chris Kelly, who's really an amazing guy, who's really done an amazing job so far. And one of the things that we get as agents every week is a video that is called the Real Estate Roadmap. And it's all of this information that is focused toward agents. But the topic this last week was talking about hip pocket listings. And I know that my friends have talked about, what are hip pocket listings, and we're not going to go into all of that today. But if you have some questions about the benefits and some of the downfalls of working, your home as a hip pocket listing, call us. We'd love to talk to you about it. There's a lot of information you need to know before you make a decision which way you want to go.
Yeah, hip pockets don't always have to be, they're not always what they think they are. So they need to see both sides, I think, of what a hip pocket does and what it does not do for you.
Yeah,
So
I would agree.
we'll get into those with you if you'd love to. We'd like to hear from you. But now we're going to jump into our first home of the day.
Yep.
And that is going to be 8410 Garland Road.
Yep.
Love this area of Dallas.
This is really one of the spectacular areas and this is a really spectacular lot that is right at an acre.
Yeah.
That sits on the corner of St. Francis and Garland Road, overlooking the lower end of White Rock Lake. The current home that there is built in the 50s, and I'm guessing it was probably one of those big family homes that sat there that didn't have anything around it for a very, very long time. Location-wise, really fantastic access to I-30 to downtown via Gaston. It's time for the tequila shop because you've got great access to the White Rock Trails.
Yes.
So just location-wise, you can't be beat being at the southern tip of the lake.
And there's been so much backfill into this area with new restaurants that have come in. The expansions that happened 2 years ago at White Rock Lake, they've really taken some strong ownership of this south side of the lake, and it has really changed this. Once historic neighborhood has now become that historic neighborhood again.
And this house is really, well, you pointed this out to me, this home has two front doors.
Love it.
And the shot that you just saw is this home, an aerial view of this home from the back. But you can see where it's got the really great drive up there, very welcoming screened-in porch. You've got a big turnaround in the driveway there, so you have as much a backward-facing view in this one as you do forward-facing view.
Which is something that I've never seen before. And the great thing about this house is that, we know that this house is probably going to get added on and expanded to, but it has some really interesting architecture in place. We saw one of the houses that we had on last week, which was 6931 Pasadena, how it had similar front gables. And this house, even though it was built, I think, in 1953, has similar ones. And so it could easily be expanded on and added additional modern material and maybe a standing seam roof to really capture what today's buyers look for, but still not losing the essence of what the house originally was started from.
Yeah, and this is right in its current configuration. It's got a lot of living space. It's only 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but it's 2,800 square feet. So you've got a lot of footprint there to work with.
And when we toured this house, I think that one of the things that we were just shocked about is the condition of the floors, which are original, but also the house, the structure of the house.
Yeah.
There was not a crack to be found anywhere, and it was pier and beam. So this house has, I believe all the doors are closing and opening just fine, but we didn't see the stress fractures that we typically see. The bricks didn't have issues. It is really one of those diamonds in the rough, and I can hardly wait to find out what this house looks like when the next homeowner gets a hold of this.
Yeah, and there are some renderings there, drawings there that we are guessing were probably part of the original construction plans that were really interesting. And it's a great value. The property's priced at $775, which is about $273 a square foot. And we wanted to say thank you to Lindy Crane for letting us talk about her home.
Yep, beautiful home, Lindy. Beautiful. Really great. So what we're going to do now is move into one of my all-time favorite neighborhoods. This is Hollywood, and it's 902 Valencia Street. And this is just around the corner from here. So a lot of what we talked about earlier on the location for Garland actually applies to this one. This neighborhood, you can see how it kind of clearly is defined by the grid pattern on where the little red icon is. This neighborhood is Hollywood Santa Monica Conservation District, and it's actually the largest collection of Tudor homes in the United States. It borders Santa Fe Trail and is between Lakewood Country Club and Tennyson. This is an amazing neighborhood. A lot of times what happens is you'll have neighborhoods that don't have these conservation overlays, and it allows builders to come in and remove the home and the actual content and then come back with something that's enormous and really take up the entire space. And by doing that, they lose a lot of the integrity that was initially brought to the home. And in this neighborhood from the 50s, the Tudors, it is carefully and cared for, and they do a lot of nice work on the inside and leave the outside original, and so it's amazing.
Yeah, and this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. It's a little under 1,500 square feet. It feels much bigger than that.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's got the big windows in it. The rooms have a really great feel to them. It's been painted almost, I think it's just a white all the way through that really brightens the house up. It's been immaculately cared for. It's got that very traditional, Norman Rockwell front porch, and you can sit out there and enjoy your neighborhood. And this is really a front porch neighborhood.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it. It is a front porch. The other one was a double front door, and this is a front porch neighborhood. And this is one of those great examples of when a house is impeccably appointed, and the furniture is all the appropriate size, and it takes up and is exaggerated, but then leaves for a natural open space as well, so you don't get that crowding effect. Throughout the house, rooms are large, ample closet space. Detailing like this picture right here, as you can see how the transition from the living room into the dining room is there, has been left. It's just one of those pieces that continues. Crown molding throughout this one, and I think it's called picture frame crown molding throughout the entire house. So you don't actually have to drive a nail into your wall. You simply cleat it onto the remote, and then it comes down.
It was really interesting because, we found that in a few of the houses that we've looked at. And so I did a real quick Google on it the other day when we were walking through this. And, that process or concept actually started in the 1700s.
Really?
Yeah. And it was very much they don't want to drive a nail into the wall because the repair, the thought of having to repair the type of wall they had then was just horrible.
Yeah.
So,
And so this is, and again, I think that adds to how clean and immaculate this is. Again, we can't say enough about how good sized the rooms are, the way that the transition goes from living room to dining room. The kitchen is done with I believe a Sub-Zero or a Viking fridge that has the actual cover over it, so it kind of blends in with the cabinets as well. And this is a little screened-in porch off the side, so again, if you don't want to sit on the front porch and need a little privacy, you've got this as well.
Yep. And a great home. One of the core upgrades that's been done to it is the HVAC system's been upgraded to a 17-SEER unit. So it's got a lot of the core things that need to be done in a house that's 80 years old at this point. So
Yep, 1940.
And this is the home is priced at $480,000. That's about $337 a square foot, which is a great value for the Santa Monica Conservation District. We wanted to say thank you to Susan Nelson Wheeler and Harry Morgan for letting us talk about their home.
Yep. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to Uptown, and we're going to move into a section of Uptown called State Thomas. And this is actually 3229 Hugo Place. And this is actually on the northern west corner of State Thomas. And it actually backs up to the cemetery and is one of the quietest areas of State Thomas, because State Thomas to us is probably one of the most walkable neighborhoods in all of Dallas. Whatever you need, that neighborhood allows you to walk through it. The way that it has grown up and the way that the planting was done, the trees have been allowed to grow and mature and create a canopy that allows us to walk through the sidewalks in the summer heat and not feel like we're just melting into the sidewalk. So this neighborhood has been well cared for. And this one, like we said, sits on the outskirts. So you get a lot of quiet time because you're up against the quietest neighbors in Dallas, which is the cemetery that's right there.
And it's I know it's kind of oogie to some people to think, oh, I live right next door to a cemetery, but the quietness and the serenity that you get being there next to it, think about those really nice spring days that you can open your windows, or those really nice fall evenings that you can open your windows, and the canopy of the trees, like you mentioned, that have been there for hundreds of years in the lot next door.
So we just went over the area, but real quick, there's also a trolley that runs in that area of Uptown. There's so much walkable dinner, restaurants, nightlife, dry cleaning. It's right across the street from a grocery store. So everything that you want, including quick commuting in and out, whether it's to Love Field or you need 75 in the toll road, it's all right there for you.
It's all right there. This is a really nice 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhome that's a little over 2,000 square feet. Has a rooftop deck on it, and this one is done really well with the rooftop deck, and this is this is the true view you have off of this rooftop deck. One of the great things about this one is you don't have to walk through the master bedroom to get to the rooftop deck, which is how a lot of the builders built these 3- and 4-story townhomes. This one's laid out very nicely, and it's a very different layout,
Right.
with the first floor really only being your entry and your garage, and then you immediately go right upstairs. Then the your living area, kitchen, dining room, half bath are on that floor. And I'm getting kind of lost in my head on the.
Well, one of the things that I liked about this floor plan real quick is that the height of the ceilings was great. It's 10-foot ceilings. But if you did not need the configuration of a dining room, the size of the island is almost a 5x5 square, and it does have bar stools around it. So it could double as a dining area if that needed be, and allow for additional space or in office.
Yeah.
Great configuration for the kitchen as well. And then on the third floor, you get the master bedroom. Master bedroom was large, good sized walk-in closet. But I like the way that they did the second bedroom, which is on the top floor.
Yeah, that's where I got lost, was I kept thinking the master's
You're like
on the
walking
top,
through
but
it and getting to it.
Yeah.
So on the very top floor, what they've done is they added a set of sliders that is opening from the second bedroom into the actual covered patio and the outdoor space. And that is it right there. Plantation shutters throughout, hardwood floors as well. I don't believe there is any carpet in this entire unit.
I don't remember there being any in it. HOA fees are $200 a month. The home is priced at $639,000, which is about $317 a square foot. And we wanted to say thank you to Kindred Roach for letting us talk about his home.
So what we're going to do now on the last house is we're going to boogie to the other side of the toll road, and that's going to put us right against Love Field, adjacent to a neighborhood called Bluffview.
Yep.
And this is going to be 8427 Lakemont Drive. This is a lot of people from Dallas know about this neighborhood. A lot of people that aren't from Dallas don't know. But this is one of those neighborhoods where you can see a lot of development taking over. There was a big push in 2006, 7, and 8 for new construction to be in here because they could build the 4,000 square foot home and not be on a zero lot line at the end. So these houses have great yards, great space. There is the Bachman Lake that is right there that allows, if you wanted to row, I believe they also have rowing, but it has really good access in and out of this neighborhood. So it's adjacent to a lot of things, Park Cities, without being in the Park Cities. Loop 12 is your friend on this one, and it gives you access to 183 to get to the North Dallas DFW if also need be.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really long-term restaurants in this neighborhood that are very well liked. There's Fernando's there. There's Sue's not far from there.
And Brand New Central's Market is
Brand
there.
New Central Market not far. It's really a great location. The house itself is a 2011 Bluffview Classic Urban Home Construction, and it's built with a great mixture of stone, wood, just a nice warm feeling about this house as I walk up to it.
So this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and it's a 2-car garage. And one of the things that more and more of the builders are deciding is that they've got to have a full bathroom and bedroom downstairs. But one of the things that they've done in this one, and that's the image right here, is that it's also doubles as an office. So whatever need be, it allows for you to flex, and it allows for more versatility when it comes back up on the market. This house actually has a really large living room, dining room, and kitchen.
Yeah.
And the way that this is configured is that on the back side, it opens up to a covered porch that is the width of the entire house. So it's a really great space, and at the exact same time, it didn't suffer the backyard. So there still is room for a large pool with a tanning area if need be.
Yeah, this home, the layout on it is really nicely done with the downstairs, with, like you said, with the one bedroom, the full bath, and then when you go upstairs, it's also got a really nice open layout. The master bedroom in this place is huge.
It's enormous.
And I think, there's a king-size bed, two 42-inch nightstands, a couch on one side, and then a chair on the other. So, you can imagine how large this room is when you get there. Plus, you have a balcony off of the master bedroom that I think is about 9 feet deep, and I know it's 17 feet long.
Right. So great space there. And one of the other things too is that they've taken into consideration, how does the master closet actually flow to utility room and to this large master bathroom? And it does it quite well. You can see again, we've got more than enough space. They've added a chair in there. I think in the closet they also had a seating arrangement. And it's the way that this has been thought out. And this is what people really are buying these days. And these are houses that usually move off the market quite quickly. And one of the things that also helps us really get into the mind of a builder is when they really care about the energy efficiency. And this one has gone ahead and said that it's Energy Star certified, which is a whole nother layer of testing that must be done in order for that to be a designation that a house can have. So this house is a great house, and I believe, just real quick, that the reason why the cement floors are downstairs is that is one of the ways that a house can gain points in order to get that certification.
Yep, this has triple pane low E windows.
Say that real fast.
Yeah, R38 insulation. It's got a lot of the really higher end energy efficiency features that people are looking for. So your cost of ownership on a home like this, you might pay a bit more for this home, but the cost to operate it over long term is where you're going to gather a lot of your savings on it.
And a lot of the frustrations is taken care of. So this one was priced at $895, which brings it in at $269 a square foot. And the neighborhood again is Cresthaven Place, which is adjacent to Bluffview. We want to say thank you so much to Rob Elmore for letting us highlight your home. Beautiful place.
So those are our properties for this week. And we have a really interesting second segment. So what are we going to talk about today?
So one of the things that I think that is key for us as we get into real estate is to help our clients understand what owning a house does, and also how they can make their homes even better. And projects can come to life, and they can really create a home that really reflects their tastes and their needs and their wants. So one of the things that we have done is we have brought on Larry Pascal. And Larry, I got it right. And Larry is here to talk to us from an architect's point of view.
Sure.
And we kind of wanted to bring Larry on because I think that so many times there are myths that are surrounded about the architecture world.
Sure.
And we wanted you to kind of help us out. And we'll start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Larry Pascal. I'm CEO and top dog with Spotted Dog Architecture. I've been in this business 22 years.
22.
Wow.
That's all right. It's
I've
all
known
good.
you for, I think, about 10 now.
Yes, because we came to your
2009.
first firm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Residential additions and renovations, new construction, whatever you really need. I think people, when they call an architect, they're not sure what the first step is.
Exactly.
People talk about redoing their homes, and it's always that question of, well, what do I do? And first thing is, well, I'll pick up the phone and call a contractor.
Right.
And what we try to tell them is, the first thing you do is you pick up the phone and you call an architect.
And that's one of the great things to talk about is because just like foundations, one first thing they do is call a foundation company. No, you start with an engineer.
Right.
So it's that level and it's that changing that mindset. And so what we did is we kind of walked through a couple of scenarios. And so what we're going to do is kind of kick back and forth some questions. And so the first one that we want to kind of get at is, I can't afford an architect, is what we hear people say, because there is that concept that it's for the rich and for large projects.
It's for the rich, it's for the elite, it's for multi-million-dollar projects. And as an industry, we are pretty bad at promoting that ourselves, because if you look in the magazines, it's all the really glossy homes that you see, and they're just amazing. And if I was a home buyer, or, a homeowner, I wouldn't hire. I mean, look at that and think, well, I can't afford to hire me.
Exactly.
Because, and so we're pretty bad about doing that to ourselves. And the reality is most architects, you can really afford an architect. And most architects, if you call them, they may say, well, that may not be the project for us.
Right.
But most of them will be able to tell you who to call. I know probably 5 or 6 architects. If it's not a project for me, I'm going to refer you to somebody else.
Excellent.
And if someone doesn't refer you to someone else, I'm like, well, bad architect.
Bad architect
Bad
is right.
architect.
And so projects that you would typically be involved in from your, and we would know that you could always build the house and everything, but if we wanted to bring it back and say, I wanted to do an addition, or I
Sure.
wanted to start with even a bathroom renovation, is that something that an architect would be a point to call and contact an architect like yourself?
Oh yeah, certainly. We've done everything from $30,000 master bathrooms to $3.5 million apartment finish outs.
Right. Wow.
So you can really, really stretch it out between the two. I mean, as far as any size project. So don't be afraid to call. If nothing else, maybe an hour with my time. Hour of my time with you,
Right.
and just to tell you, oh, I did this with you. I told you no.
Yes. And so we have a funny story that's about that. There was a time when I was looking at a project and I thought that I was going to step into this and do the work on it. And so I was not getting positive acceptance from other people. And I thought, well, I will bring an architect in, and whatever the architect says is what I'll go with. Larry came through and Larry said,
I said, you're going to spend your entire budget doing all the mechanical and the electrical and the plumbing.
yeah.
And so, no.
So it was a no. It was a hard pass. So it's an interesting thing to bring an architect in to give you a whole different set of perspectives, because I don't think that people realize that there are permits.
Oh, sure.
And there's a whole list of people that you need to work with.
Well, you talk about being in the conservation district.
That's
it's its own special sort of
Animal.
challenge.
Yes.
Conservation district, historic districts, there are overlays, there's planned development districts. The house that you guys were showing on Garland Road
Yeah.
sits in one of the planned developments, and it's
little
a subsection
forest
of something else.
Yep.
And so you have to be able to navigate all those things. And as a homeowner, that's what your architect's going to do for you,
Right.
is to be able to navigate all that.
So it is worth reaching out to an architect, even when you're starting a bathroom remodel, because I would say, we've seen architects that were involved with a guest bathroom, and then we've seen architects that were not involved. And I have to say that one of the things that we do notice is that sometimes the DIY on the resale does not translate as well.
Sure.
And it actually is an indirect question mark that buyers get, where they're not sure what else they DIY'd. And I think that architects actually add the value that we're looking for.
Well, who did the electrical work?
You're absolutely right. And I think that it's funny, because if we kind of move into this, and we have, seen it all the time, because we hear people quote about it, or we hear people reference it when they say things like they don't use architects on HGTV.
Right.
So I can't imagine when you see a show and you're like, there's no way they did that without help.
Oh, yeah.
So-
well, all the time. I mean, I think there's an architect who, we have this love-hate relationship. We like to watch HGTV, but at the same time, we just want to strangle people. And this isn't how it works. This isn't the reality.
This isn't the real world.
This isn't the real world. One of my favorite things is the Property Brothers, where every project is 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of the budget, regardless of the scope, everything is 7 weeks. We can do this in 7 weeks. And I'm like,
With an entire architect firm.
yeah. Well, they don't show the 3 or 4 months of planning that go ahead
Right.
of anything. I was on the way over here, I was thinking the old show Extreme Home Makeover. They come in and they tear this thing down and build it in 7 days. It is 3 months of planning
Right.
to get to that 7 days. And they don't talk about those 3 months of planning. They just show you the nice, pretty 7 days, and that's it. So, anybody can do it in 7 days.
If you have an entire office.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting that when people see this and they they feel like suddenly they can do this. And you have to think about this. When you think about a DIY project, are you going to be able to lay the tile in an entire day, or is this going to turn into 4 weeks, or maybe even a project that doesn't get completed? We've seen that before, and I'm sure you see that as well.
Well, you'll get the clients who, we'll just be our own general contractor. And you think, no, let's get an architect involved, and let's do things right and go through the right process.
And that's kind of a great transition, because one of the things that, and we see it all the time because we've referred them out as well, is when people ask for a contractor.
Right.
And can a contractor provide the exact same level of work or guidance as an architect?
And that's a yes and no question.
Ah, interesting.
Because there are design build firms that will actually offer the services from beginning to finish, beginning to end. So they'll do the design work, they'll do all the construction work, they'll help you pick finishes, everything.
Right.
But what you end up with is it's a challenge of you don't always have somebody in your corner.
Right.
The architect is your advocate on that project. So if you don't have an architect you're working with and you're working with a contractor who has someone in-house, how do you know if something's wrong?
Right.
How do you know if you're not supposed to be paying extra for something? I had a client who spent an extra $5,000 on her kitchen island because they mismeasured it.
Oh.
Mismeasured it, built it, installed it, and then came out and said, well, it's too big. We're going to have to cut it down. It's going to cost you $5,000. But she didn't know any better.
And she wrote the check.
And she wrote the check.
So that is an interesting thing, and I don't think that many of us think about that an architect is not just the person that actually conceives the concept and then comes up with the work, but they take it one step further and they become the advocate between you and the vendor. And they step in and take care of things in a way that you didn't know you needed to,
Right.
or actually push back and say, that's not a cost. That's not their responsibility. You misordered the windows.
Sure.
You'll handle that.
Right. Right. Well, there's also the aspect too, and I don't think, no, we don't get any training in school for this, but we are essentially psychologists. I mean, we have this whole sort of hand-holding background. I've taken clients out for margaritas and Mexican food.
Yeah.
Because just to talk them off the ledge because there's a problem with the project and you see that stress build up.
Right.
So they're always having to kind of handhold and walk them through it and be their sounding board at the same time. So
Yeah.
you're sort of managing a lot of different aspects.
You're beyond managing just expectations
Right.
and translating their ideas. You're actually, crisis manager
Yeah,
as
crisis
well.
management a little bit, yeah, it
So-
can be.
Well, that is what we kind of wanted to bring on today. We hope that this is just a very quick talk with Larry to talk about taking and realizing you can pick up the phone and call an architect. And it might be the best phone call you make.
It will be the best.
It
one.
will be. So right now what we've got on the screen is we got Larry Pascal's information. He's got phone, email, Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, and the blog.
And the blog,
And so I'm going to come on your show
right.
on May the
16th.
16th.
We're going to record on the 16th, publish the following Monday.
Yeah,
And it's the Big Gay Architect podcast.
excellent.
And you'll be my second guest. It'll be really great.
Excellent. So I am going to be the second guest. Well, Larry, thank you so much for coming on the show. We will
Appreciate
have
it.
you on again. I know we will. And I think it's been helpful. And we hope that if you do have a question where an architect might be needed, that you would take and reach out to us and we could point you into the right direction of Larry. And that could be one of those steps that saves you a lot of time and a lot of frustration and wasted money.
Yep.
Well, Jeff, I think that just about wraps us up.
I think it does. We want to say thank you for tuning in with us today. It's been a lot of fun. You can reach out to us on our Facebook page. Go out there, like us, comment on our show. We'd love to hear what's going on. Follow us on Instagram. We try to keep that updated with pictures of our homes and projects we're working on, things like that. You can also go to our website at updikepugh.com and sign up for property searches, get more detail on the process of buying or selling a home. And last of all, homeprice.fyi. That's our website where you can go get an instant value of the property. Just go in, put the address in, a couple other pieces of info. Instantly, you have a number. And last of all, contact us through traditional means, the cell phone, text, email. Phone number is 214-377-2223. We'd love to hear from you.
And remember, we want to be your realtors for life.